Congratulations,
Wow.
Mr. Bueller. That was pretty funny.
Thank you, sir. That was fun. Wow. I had it the whole time. No problem, right? Just keep infinite mana and trust in the top of your deck. No
you have
problem.
you have a pretty insurmountable lead right now. It's gonna take it. You're gonna be in first place, pole position for at least a couple good weeks.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, 2-0. I'll take it. Wow, these games are so intense. I'm literally shaking. Like the match against Rich was so complicated. Oh my god. And then like game one against LSV, I look at his hand and it's got everything. Ah, that was fun.
Yeah, I missed most of your match against Rich, but I got the tail end of what just happened, and that's also our first turn one, right?
It is. That is the first turn one kill in league play.
A
Like
lot of
actual
firsts.
turn one kill. I mean, people have put effectively lethal things, but yeah, no one's actually won the game on turn one until now.
Did you
Not
have
even a
any
ball
idea?
key.
Were you shocked that he was playing Doomsday?
Oh my god. Luis is playing Doomsday? Yes, you could say. I certainly spent some time thinking about what Luis was going to play because I knew he was one of my three opponents for this trimester. And I had him on either Gifts or Delver. Like, Gifts is his first love, but you can't really test it. And he's working on a Pro Tour, and the Delver deck's really good. Never crossed my mind that he might go to Doomsday. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's a fascinating choice. I mean, if you want to puzzle over Doomsday piles, wouldn't you just rather play Gifts?
Well, you don't get. I mean, I had him on
Yeah,
Gifts. I don't know.
yeah.
Wow. No, it's awesome though. Like, I look forward to watching Luis's next two matches.
Well, it should be quite interesting.
I didn't have Rich on Delver either. I mean, I guess it was in his range, but
I was super excited to see LSV build some Doomsday piles, but you you precluded that.
yeah. What did you think of the way I played the first game? Were you watching it?
I was eating some food. Which one was that?
All right. So here's the one super interesting judgment call. I'm holding I think I'm holding Time Vault, whatever. I'm holding a Lethal Threat.
Hmm.
He has Mystical Tutored for Force of Will that I know of. So he has two cards in his hand, one of which is a Force of Will. The other one is probably a blue card, but I don't actually know that it's a blue card. He thought sees me on the previous turn. Like the previous turn, he went Preordain and then thought sees you. So he's holding two cards, one of
Oh
which
yeah,
is Will.
yeah.
I have Time Vault and like an extra Mox Opal. So essentially, if I play the Time Vault, I am obliging him to force and to go empty-handed and just put send the game into top deck mode, or I can try to build up multiple threats on the same turn. Like
Hmm.
I think I'm favored if I just put us both into top deck mode.
Yeah.
So I play the Time Vault, and he does. He has Force Will. He has to remove a Merchant Scroll from the game. So I think I actually turn a bit of a
Yeah.
profit there. If I let him
That's
Merchant for Ancestral and Ancestral into a blue card, I'm just behind. But then my next card in my library is Pact of Negation.
right.
So like literally, if I just pass, I'll top deck Pact of
And
Negation.
then win
I can
through
vault the
force.
pack back up, which
Yeah.
I assume wins.
I think it's dangerous with your deck to go into top deck mode because I suspect LSV's deck probably has more density of cantrips. But
Really?
you're not really hurting for business. I mean, you've got apparently I haven't seen your list, but you've got diminishing returns, which I love. And I
Oh
don't
my
think
god, that
anyone's
was the key that sent me over the top. I thought Diminishing Returns was just such a good find for this deck that really got me excited about playing this again because I feel like it's legitimately upgraded from the version I was playing last year.
well, you've got so much gas in there. I mean, you've
Yeah,
got
I'm,
Tezzerets,
I'm playing
which
multiple Diminishing Returns. It's not restricted.
right. No, and people were commenting on diminishing returns, but one of the things they didn't mention is the reason it gives you the option to draw 0 or 6 cards is because it assumes you may actually have exiled most of your library. If that
I also think they didn't want people to deck their opponents with it.
that's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but the deck doesn't kill with restricted cards, right? So what do I care if you're
Yeah,
moving cards? I'm happy to have it draw 7. Like the deck used to run Time Spiral, and like Diminish is so much better than Time
it's more
Spiral in this
efficient.
deck.
Yeah.
4 is so much easier to get to than 6.
Well, the end was hilarious. How you baited with the Tinker, and
Yep,
then diminishing returns. I mean, my desire for I don't know how many that was, but
that's just
that was
11.
yeah. And you had the mana to pay for a number of Flusterstorm copies.
Not after we got into the fight. I didn't.
Right.
Like I could
But
have paid for a
before,
bunch of them. So it was a tricky spot because for a while I thought that I was going to Mind's Desire and just pay for a bunch of copies. Like that was plan A. But then I pondered into the Tinker and sort of switched over to the Tinker plan. I probably didn't play the turn optimally because I could have pondered before I played the Mox Opals. I mean, it doesn't really matter versus the Flusterstorm, but I could have gotten the information before I went through the whole Mox Opal shenanigans. It all kind of breaks even, but
Yeah. I mean, it's nitpicking because you played so well, but I think the one thing people pointed to was deciding not to misstep his top.
that was just dumb. I just literally missed it. I should have. I absolutely 100% should have misstepped the top. I don't know. I don't. In my head, I'm playing missteps to stop their missteps and their ancestral and their pyroblasts, and I just literally spaced on the fact that top was a legal misstep target. That was absolutely a mistake.
So that match is now the presumptive most exciting match of this season so far. So I know folks are disappointed to not have Kai, but that was a pretty darn good
Hopefully we gave him a show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now what do we got? Tom and Chris? Tom Martell, Chris Pikula. Sorry, I'm still just kind of.
No, enjoy it. That was a blast.
And then I guess you haven't played yet, right?
Yeah, I'm the 5th match.
Got it. Yeah, so the list is multiple diminishing returns, which I feel like is a nice upgrade. No time spirals, but the Tezzerettes. So I gotta say, before the deck lists go up, I would like to apologize on behalf of my sideboard. My sideboard is all the cards I cut from the main deck so that I can play test for week 2 and week 3, I thought, and like fix whatever I messed up.
Who's your week 3 opponent?
Luis. I don't have a week 3 opponent anymore. Oh. I thought I was going to get to play test matchups.
So who's your week 2 opponent then?
Eric Ephraim.
Oh, okay. I'm sure he's really looking.
I get to play against the Belcher deck, which I think is a decent matchup. Like, it depends how much hate he's got for me. Like, if he's got a bunch of null rods in the sideboard, that's really annoying for me. And Delver certainly can play null rods. In fact, when I played against Eric and Luis in the Vintage Holiday Festival, the fact that they had null rods created problems for me. Like, I lost a game to Eric because he null rodded me. And that was definitely one of the things I was a little bit worried about. Anyway, Delver, I liked him. I liked the Belcher matchup against Delver in general. It's actually why I played it in that Vintage Holiday Festival, was because I expected a ton of Delver, and I think you actually have the edge there. Null rods are basically the only thing the deck is really soft to, in my mind. I mean, it's a lot more resilient than it looked. People think of it, oh, it's just some all-in Charbelcher deck, but yeah, I've got 8 counters in the deck. I've got 10 1-mana cantrips. I've got 8 sort of gasoline cards, draw 7s and Tezzerettes and whatnot.
How much mana? What's the mana density?
So it's 27 mana cards. That counts 4 expedition maps. You get to play what, 13 Moxes, right? Because Chrome Mox and Mox Opal are both restricted. So 4 of those, the 5 regular Moxes.
Well, maybe you actually do have enough gas density to go into top deck mode. I'm used to those combo decks having like 30, 31 mana sources. 27.
Oh no, yeah, it's 27 mana cards, and
including the maps, yeah.
And that counts the expedition maps, yeah. No, the biggest problem the deck has, honestly, is getting to 1. Like, if you can get to 1 mana, you're usually fine. That's what happened. Like in the game against Rich, I got stuck where if he doesn't misstep that expedition map, it was a game that basically came down to the fact that he misstepped my expedition map, and then I couldn't get the second mana. I couldn't get a Mox Opal to make any mana, so I'm sitting there, and then he Dak Fadens to steal my only mana source, my 1 Chrome Mox. And just literally did not cast a spell the rest of the game. It was like turn 1, Chrome Mox for Expedition Map. He missteps it. I didn't cast a spell for the rest of the game.
So getting the 1 mana and keeping the 1 mana is the trick.
Well, yeah, I guess keeping it is also important. Yeah, that... All right. Looks like we're getting Tom and Chris ready, which is great.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, I think in top deck mode I am okay, because I've got 4 Preordains and a Ponder, and Ancestral. The 4 Gitaxian Probes kind of thin the deck a little bit. And then, yeah, it's 2 Diminish, Tinker, Windfall, Time Twister, 2 Tezzerettes, a Mind's Desire. The sideboard has all the extras. I have the 3rd Diminishing Returns is in the sideboard in case I decide that belongs in the deck. The Memory Jar is in the sideboard because it's I almost never tinker for Memory Jar, but if I sideboard out the Windfall when I'm on the draw, so I wanted to make sure I had a draw 7 to bring in for the Windfall if I'm on the draw. I don't know. I'm not convinced I have the right 60, but I am convinced that the deck is legit.
you've just compressed and pushed down all the mana costs. So you've gone.
Yeah. No, it's definitely nice to yeah, finding cheaper cards is also nice. Also, I didn't have Candelabra of Tawnos last time around. Candelabra of Tawnos
Yeah,
is
people,
a nice
people
upgrade.
noted on that. That was pretty amazing. That was
Yeah,
great.
it worked out great. Whew. But yeah, the sideboard is not really like the 15 reactive cards. It's more like, okay, do I need more card drawing here? Do I need more counters here? Like I could imagine that the right number. Oh, Grim Monolith is a card I started shaving a little bit, which is a little bit weird because like if you can get to one, you can usually keep going.
Yeah.
So like, you get these hands where you have multiple Grim Monoliths, but you can't cast them.
How many keys do you have?
I have 2.
You count those in your 27 mana, or those no?
I counted them as kill cards. They're not in the 27. And they are sort of mana-ish. Obviously, if you have a vault or a monolith, they make mana, which came up
or
nicely.
Soul Ring. Yep.
Yeah. So I was not counting the keys. It's I kind of think of it as 7 kill cards, right? The 4 Belchers, the vault, and the 2 keys.
Yeah,
I thought about 3 keys. I think, I mean, I could imagine that 3 keys is the right number, but I think I like 2 better. Could imagine that 1 key is the right number. I don't know. I feel like I think 2 is the right number of keys, but I'm not positive. It's a lot of numbers in this deck like that.
How many Tezzerets again?
I have 2.
Well, which key is? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they also play the role of a key.
Key can also draw out missteps.
Yep. So. Oh yeah. No, it's a bait card. I don't think you're supposed to misstep key against this deck. I mean, not unless they have a time vault, obviously. But maybe you are, and certainly some people will, so you can bait with it.
Yeah. No tops?
I do not have Divining Top now. It's too mana intensive.
Yeah.
It's also a little on the slow side for the deck. Like the deck wants to keep turn 1 kills in live. Like when you draw a hand, if you can't see the turn 2 kill, you mulligan. Now, I mean, you guys sometimes like I kept a hand against LSV with just a probe and a preordain, but it's like between probe, preordain, and I'm on the draw, and like I have so much mana that I can kill on the first turn if I draw anything. So that's about as speculative as I'll keep.
You have Lion's Eye?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you have Lion's Eye Diamond?
I do have Lion's Eye Diamond, yeah. Yeah, Lion's Eye to activate the Belcher comes up a fair amount. Plus, Diminishing Returns makes Lion's Eye better, right? You're more often doing a draw 7. You can sack Lion's Eye as a response before you get your new hand. But let's talk about these guys. Tom Martell and Chris Pikula. You see these guys both went 4 and 5, as did half the league last year. Tom and Chris will be playing with decks that we don't know yet. I am quite interested to see what's going on, and I can now admit to the fact that one of the guys I was testing with was Chris Pikula. Chris is also playing the Belcher deck, and hats off to him. Chris is the guy that found Diminishing Returns. So Chris found Diminishing Returns, and Chris found Candelabra of Tawnos. And honestly, I wasn't gonna play Belcher, but like Chris was talking to me about it because he wanted to play it, and he was like, "What about Diminishing Returns?"
He got you excited.
That sounds great. What about Candelabra of Tawnos? Maybe let's test it. And so, based on like helping Chris with the deck and testing it, he kind of talked me back into it.
Fascinating. I can see how you might get excited about that, Randy. So got your juices.
Diminish was nice. You can see diminishing in his hand.
We've got
Martell's on Dredge.
Yeah, we've got a nice combo versus Dredge matchup. Which
wow, this is just a race. Buckle your seatbelts for this one.
This could be quick. This could be over quick.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of actions, but not a lot of turns.
So Tom has some disruption in his hand. He's got the Unmask, which can strip, presumably Chris's best card. But Chris here has 2 strong business spells. He's got
no, but if he takes the Chrome Mox, Chris is just dead. Chris has 0 mana if Tom unmasks the Chrome Mox.
That goes to your getting to 1 mana threshold point.
Yeah, if he gets the 1, he can play the Voltaic Key, and then the Chrome Mox will tap for mana. But if his whole hand depends on that Chrome Mox.
So remind us again how many sort of threshold mana sources you have that you can start with. You've got 4 Chrome Mox.
Wow, does Chris have to force a will this unmask? I think Chris has to. He should absolutely force a will this unmask. He knows he's playing against Dredge, right? He sees Bizarre Baghdad. So what are you countering against the Dredge deck? Like your hand is never going to survive to counter a Dread Return. And he knows Tom is smart enough to take the Chrome Mox. Take the Chrome Mox here. So.
I completely agree with what he just did. Diminishing Returns is so good against Dredge.
Yes.
Best weapons.
Oh my God! Reshuffle the Dredge player's library. How sick is that?
Yes, and their graveyard into their library. Right.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Crazy. Sorry, you were asking me about
But,
threshold mana sources?
yes.
He
So
had
so how many things can he sort of begin the game with? Can you
13
begin?
boxes and an academy. Well, I guess the academy doesn't even turn on
Well,
without.
I wouldn't count the opals because those are dependent on other stuff. So you've got how many colored sources can you begin with? Like how many can generate you just at least one blue without being dependent on anything else except say another card?
Well, one colorless is often enough because you have like a key lying around or something to then turn on that opal. But so it's the lotus petal. The 5 moxes makes 7. The 4 chrome moxes makes 11. Is that it?
That's the bottleneck then. That's the deck's bottleneck.
No, Chris kept trying to talk me into playing a volcanic island.
Mana Crypt is also.
Oh, Mana Crypt. There's another one. Sure. So 12. Yeah, you've got like a dozen ways to get to 1, and then from there everything else turns on.
He can almost cast Diminishing Returns. Oh well.
There you go.
He can cast Diminishing Returns now. So he has Taxian Probe. He's on Tolarian Academy for our viewers. So he's now going to be able to just play the Chrome Mox without having to imprint anything.
Yeah.
And then he can just play the Academy and cast it.
Is that enough mana? Academy only taps for. He needs 4 mana for the Diminish. Yeah, he has to get this started. He can't get to 4 this turn because he can't get mana out of the Chrome Mox, and he can't play 2 opals. Like once you have 2 other artifacts, you can start chaining the opals together. And you can essentially turn them into lotus petals. You tap 1 for mana, play the other, choose to keep the untapped Mox opal. But
this gives I
am surprised he didn't play the Chrome Mox before he tapped the Academy. But I guess if he can't play Diminish this turn, it doesn't really matter. He may as well hold it in his hand in case he draws a blue card.
Right. The big question is going to be if Tom has 2 trolls in his graveyard, Golgari Grave Troll, which is the best dredger, and so he's going to reveal no less than 18 cards this turn.
He's looking for Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, the question is if he reveals Cabal Therapy and multiple, if he only hits 1, the question is what's he going to name? If he hits 2, he's going to strip the Diminishing Returns, and then Chris is going to be in top deck mode.
He has to also get creatures, of course. There's no way in hell he can blind name Diminishing Returns. There's no way. Nobody's played that card in years until Chris came up with it, and then I played it last round.
What do you blind name here? Do you name a Charbelcher? That's a 4 of.
It is a 4 of. If he can get to 4 mana, which he probably can. Yeah, Charbelcher's a good name. So how many therapies did he hit? Can we tell? Hopefully our spotter can get a look at his graveyard. Cabal Therapies. How many Cabal Therapies in his yard? The 1.
Oh, just 1. After all that.
Wow. Did we get to his main phase, or does he still get to dredge on draw? Yeah, his main. He drew the Grogu.
It's a big name right here.
There's no way.
I assume he doesn't have anything like the White Sun Titan that can allow him, or a Fate Stitcher that can allow him to dredge some more. So this is going to be pretty decisive. And if Chris does not get that Diminishing Return stripped, that's going to be a pretty amazing turn for Chris.
Yeah, not only is it a draw 7, it also undoes all the work Tom's done with his dredging.
Highly disruptive.
What's he going to name, Josh? Tell us. Casting with Flashback.
He's got to go for Belcher, though, you would think.
He names Force of Will. That's a fair name. That's a totally reasonable thing to name.
That's reasonable.
Wow. He sees Diminishing Returns. Can you imagine what's going through Tom's head right now?
He's thinking, I hope on this Diminishing Returns I draw Dredgers.
He's going to be... I mean, Chris is a favorite to win when he casts that Diminishing Returns.
You got to think that Chris has a really good chance of just winning the game.
And he sets Tom all the way back to 0. I guess Tom does have a decent board position, though. That's the thing.
He's going to have some creatures in play, but he's not going to be able to just attack and win next turn unless he...
Well, look at this. He has all 4 Bloodghast in his yard.
They're all...
How funny is that? Wait, he didn't hit the... Does he have the Zealot in there, too? Does he have the Dread Return? Does Tom win on turn 2?
Oh,
he's got Fate Stitcher. Jeez.
Okay, so
if he finds the Dread Return, he wins right now.
Right. He's also going to be able to find the second Cabal Therapy here. So Chris
Probably. Yeah, no, that's a great point. That Fate Stitcher changes everything.
Yeah, the Fate Stitcher, or if he had the Sun Titan, he could put another Bazaar into play. Either way.
Yep. Well, he needs a Dread Return is what he needs. Dread Return and or Cabal Therapy. What did he find? Unbelievable. Chris had a turn 2 kill through Unmask and Cabal Therapy, but Tom is going to kill him on his own turn 2. Turn 2 on the play with Dredge. Why doesn't Tom play this deck all the time? It seems ridiculous in his hands.
I think he went 3-0 with this.
He had to pass. He whiffed.
Oh my God.
Tom had the Fate Stitcher. He got more Dredges. Could not find Cabal Therapy. Could not.
I am floored. I'm completely shocked.
He's got how many cards left in his library? 14? And 3 of them are Cabal Therapies?
So just so folks know, there is a new rule on Mox Opal. Our viewers need to understand this. There's an errata on Mox Opal. There's a errata on Mox Opal that will allow Chris to tap the in-play Mox Opal, generate a mana, play the second one, and under the new Legend rule, choose which one he would like to keep in play.
I mean, it's not errata. It's just the way Legends work nowadays.
Right.
So can he get the... He could play Belcher, but that's crazy because he'll have to say go and he'll get killed next turn for sure. So Chris knows he cannot... If he doesn't have 7 mana to go Char Belcher...
Yeah, he has 6 mana, right? Because he has 1 floating. He's got 3... Oh no, he didn't ever imprint anything on the Opal
right. He has 3, 4, 5 mana.
5.
So he has to just diminish, which undoes all Tom's work. Now Chris, there's not 17 power over there, is there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 14 power on Tom's side. So Chris is not dead if he says go, and Tom would have to redo his graveyard. So all right, what did Chris draw?
Chris has drawn a Chrome Mox, a Mox Opal, a Mox Jet, a Mana Vault Expedition map.
Time Vault Voltaic Key.
Yeah.
There's a Time Vault in Chris's hand.
Oh,
there's
a Time Vault. Okay.
He's got 3 mana, right? Yeah, he's got a Mana Vault. No problem.
Okay. I thought that was a Expedition map. That's Mana Vault. That's Time Vault. Wow. All right.
Welcome to Vintage, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a wild game.
I thought Tom had the turn 2 kill.
Yeah.
And instead, Chris has the turn 2 kill. Unbelievable. Yeah, this Belcher deck is legit. This is a real thing. I don't know why no one else is playing this. So maybe they will now. Do have to give props. The guy who gave me the original list is Danny Baderman. Calls it the People's Hammer. We didn't miss anything in Tom's hand, right? Oh, Tom has a mental misstep, doesn't he?
Which will not help him.
It could have caused problems.
Result. Yeah. Plus, I mean, if he plus Chris has. Yeah. Plus, Chris has Pact of Negation.
Yeah, and Chris has enough. Well, Pact of Negation. He would have to pay for the Pact on his first Time Vault turn, but he could do that. Yeah, I think Tom maybe should have countered the Mana Vault and hoped that Chris was pinched on mana. It turns out Chris is not pinched. Like even if misstep had resolved on the Mana Vault, Chris has enough mana to set up this Vault Key. Wow. I mean, Tom might make Chris go through the motions to confirm, see more of his deck. No, he's not gonna. All right. Chris Pikula, ladies and gentlemen. Mono Blue Belcher trying to get to 3-0 on the week, I guess. Crazy. Wow. All right. Coming up for air. I did want to congratulate you. You won this thing last year. Nice job.
Thank you.
What is there? I mean, if you look back on that, I'm sure that was a lot of fun to win. Is there a secret to winning at Vintage Super League? Can you tell me, please?
Well, I think if there is, you probably just figured it out. You're getting.
Well, I don't know about that. I owed 3 last time.
Your deck is on the verge of being 3-0. No. You know, I think probably the key to the decisions I made in the last season was just deck selection. The most interesting decision was what to play in week 4, because that was when Chris and I were both 3-0, and yep. I was 3-0 with Doomsday and he was 3-0 with Workshops, and we both had that, you know, what will he do kind of moment where I thought, you know, Chris seeing 3-0 probably assumed that I might play Doomsday again. So why not play Workshops, which is Doomsday's worst nightmare? And then I, made a decision based upon that point perspective that I should probably play something that beats Workshops. So I switched, and I don't think Chris was. I don't remember Chris went with Workshops, but I know he wasn't too happy with his decision to stay on Workshops.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sticking with Workshops did not work out for him. Yeah, no, I definitely think metagaming can definitely be a good call when you get it right. I don't know that I got it right this week, but sometimes
Yeah, well,
it just works out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, how do you metagame for the beginning of the season, especially when you've got so many different changes?
I thought I had stuff to think about. Like I said, I had Luis on Delver or Gifts, which is a complete swing and a miss. Although I figured I had Eric on approximately the same range, and he's on Delver, so.
Yeah, I think the other thing that was tricky about last season for me though was that I was the first person in this league to play Delver, and then I decided not to play it in the last couple of weeks because I wanted to play it at the Vintage Championship, and so I didn't want to play the deck that I wanted to play at the Vintage Championship with the Treasure Cruise. Well, at least I squeaked into the finals and then had an opportunity to play it in the finals. So at least
it all seems to have worked out just fine. All right, opening hands. Chris took a mulligan. He can't keep that hand. It doesn't get to 1. 2 expedition maps and a soul ring. It's all very depressing, but he can't keep it.
yeesh.
Oh, welcome to this deck. Yeah. Chrome Mox into Preordain. I guess it's better than 4.
Yeah, I don't think
It's not good.
Throwing this back, you risk getting no mana.
Yeah. So he keeps 5. Keeps a mediocre 5. Tom has Bizarre on 7.
And it should be noted, Tom has a Dredger in his hand. He's got the Stinkweed Imp, and he's got Cabal Therapy, as well as a Bridge from Below. So he's got
Fate Stitcher.
He's got some of the combo pieces already in place.
Yeah, Tom's hand looks good. Yeah, I mean, Chris is basically relying on the top of his deck. I mean, he's not dead or anything, but he's going to need that Preordain to turn up some gas. He needs both mana and gas. It's tough. Or he could just top deck Black Lotus, maybe? No, that doesn't do it. That lets him cast the Char Belcher, but not activate it.
I was thinking about that. I was trying to figure out what would be the best mana source he could draw here. Is it
Academy?
Or a Soul Ring or something like that?
Soul Ring's quite good. But yeah, he needs 2 cards. There's no 1 card that fixes his hand. Tom doesn't need any cards. Tom just needs his deck to do what it does.
So he's got the second. He's got an undiscovered Paradise.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
Which
lets him turn on Fate Stitcher.
Right. And he can play the Cabal Therapy from his hand next turn and then flash it back likely.
Huh.
Unless he wants to discard it, which he decided apparently not to do.
Yeah, I think that's what he's thinking about. We'll definitely need to get Tom's Graveyard popped out for you, see what we can see.
Looks like Chris now has 2 Goblin Char Belchers in hand.
So bad. Drawing the second Char Belcher is never, ever, ever good.
Well, there's the mana source we were talking about.
Yeah, we found Soul Ring. He just needed Goblin Char Belcher to be a better card.
It looks like he's just going to get his hand stripped pretty heavily.
Pretty much.
What's the card? And is it? Oh, that's a not Bazooka Bog. That's the land that dredges.
Oh, Dackmore Salvage.
Dackmore Salvage.
Can we get a look at Tom's Graveyard? Awesome.
Ah.
Yeah, last game was haymakers and see who can deliver the knockout blow. This one, I think, is just going to stay lopsided. Man, last game was the one where Chris had to defend his Chrome Mox with a Force of Will too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this Cabal Therapy, the first one is likely to strip these 2 Char Belchers. So
I think he might name Force of Will again.
Well, even though he imprinted Force,
That's a fair point.
he does have a misstep to block the first therapy, but
True, which he should use.
he's
Tom's
decided.
going for Fate Stitcher. He's not
Yeah.
going to hard cast Cabal Therapy. Fate Stitcher will untap Bazaar Baghdad and let him just keep going off to the races. He's already got the Flamekin Zealot in his yard, so if he can hit bridges, then flashing back therapy makes enough zombies to.
Yeah, he's got at least one bridge. I think he's got 2 bridges in his graveyard.
I see at least 2.
There might even be a third.
He's got 2 before this dredge. Now he's got 3.
Okay, so he's in business.
Yeah, he just needs to hit Dread Return. I mean, he must play multiple Dread Returns, right? He never found one last game. Last game, he had, what, 14 cards, and 3 of them were Cabal Therapy, and however many Dread Returns he plays were in the rest. I don't know. There's a chance there was a Serum Powder hand that I missed. Magic Online's not super obvious about the Exile Zone. Serum Powder's involved. Yeah, no cards exiled this game. But maybe we missed one last game. I don't know. Whatever. I just thought Tom had that once he had the Fate Stitcher. This one I think he will have, though. Now he's got all the goods. 3 bridges. He's got therapy. Is there a Dread Return? Is there a Dread Return in there? I think I see one. Yeah. And I already see the Flamekin Zealot. It's usually easy to find. It's the only gold card in the deck.
Yeah. Stands out like a sore thumb.
So the quote-unquote combo with the Dredge deck is sacrificing things to trigger Bridge from Below to put zombies into play. He's going to use Cabal Therapy, sacrifice his Narcomoeba or the Bloodghast. The Cabal Therapy part is nice at disrupting the opponent, but meanwhile, it'll throw off 3 zombies. Stacking 3 creatures for Dread Return will then throw off 6-9 more zombies, all of which can get +1/+1 in haste thanks to Flamekin Zealot, and smash.
What's the other green card in? It doesn't look like Graveful. What's the other green card in?
Nature's Claim.
He's got Nature's Claim. Nature's claiming that that Mox would be pretty annoying.
I think he's got more important things to do. That Mox doesn't matter if he just wins the game here. So he goes for the Cabal Therapy. Chris does, in fact, cast Mental Misstep. That was Cabal Therapy from his hand or from the graveyard? Where are the zombies?
That must have been from his hand.
Oh, there are the triggers. Yeah, that was from his hand. So now the Cabal Therapy sacking a creature makes 3 zombies. What's he going to name this time? This one gets to resolve, right? First blind name. It doesn't really matter, but Tom was pretty good at these last season.
I mean, you think he's probably going to name Belcher, but
I honestly, I would probably name Force of Will just because it's the only thing that stops him from winning the game. Like, nothing else matters. And he did name Force of Will. He misses, but whatever. That means there's no Force of Will, so you can Cabal Therapy some more.
That's a point. Good point. He's trying to win right here. So
I mean, he's just got the game, right?
He's got the Dread Return.
I'm pretty sure I saw Dread Return in there.
Can we get a confirmation there's Dread Return?
Now, is he going to have enough power to kill? He needs, what, 6 attackers?
So he has 6 zombies right now, right?
Right, but he has to sack 3 of them, and sacking a token creature.
He's going to sack 3.
I don't think he wins this turn. I don't think he's enough zombies. I thought there were going to be 9 zombies. I don't know what I missed. Oh, they're still.
No, he can Dread Return the Fate Stitcher, and if he can find a second Dread Return.
No, he doesn't.
He passed the turn.
He'll win next turn. He gave Chris 1.
Oh my God, Randy!
Nothing was possible.
Yeah.
In fact, he didn't even need to draw anything. All right, so I thought there was a turn 2 kill there. Didn't need it. Didn't take it. I don't know what I missed, but whatever. We're going to game 3. Oh, I know what I missed. It's actually an interesting thing that I missed. Sacrificing a Fate Stitcher to Cabal Therapy because it has been unearthed, it gets exiled. It doesn't go to the graveyard, so it doesn't trigger the Bridge from Belows. That's what I missed. I thought I saw 3 creatures. I assumed 3 Bridge from Below and sacking 3 creatures was going to generate 9 zombies. But yeah, sacking the unearthed Fate Stitcher doesn't actually make it zombie tokens. That makes sense.
But Chris drew lines that I'm in and recognized he wasn't going to win. So
yeah, this is why some of these decks don't even play a Flamekin Zealot. They're like, whatever, I'm going to Cabal Therapy all the relevant cards out of my opponent's hand. It's okay to say go if you've already killed all their stuff. So he says go.
What is Chris's sideboard plan here? So he brings in
his sideboard plan is to be on the play.
Well, he has that advantage.
No, seriously though, the Belcher deck is faster. Like the Dredge deck is never ever winning on turn 1. And the Belcher deck is winning on turn 1 a decent amount of the time. And playing first, you're winning on turn 1 or 2. I mean, turn 1 or 2 unmolested, you win most of the games.
I'm looking at your sideboard, and
yeah, there's nothing there for Dredge.
I disagree. He's got a mystical tutor, which is pretty awesome. Actually, it can get a
okay. Fine. You can bring in. You can bring in. Does he have the extra diminishing returns in there, or did he play 3? He played 3 diminishing returns in his main deck. Our lists are not identical. We're the fine tuning. Like I like Mind's Desire. He does not play Mind's Desire. Whatever.
He also has 3 mental missteps in his sideboard.
Right. I have those on my main. So he'll be taking the permission out. He will be bringing in. I guess the sideboard's better set up. But he doesn't have any Dredge hate. Is I guess what I was trying to say. We talked about like maybe a Grafdigger's Cage because it's so good at hosing so many decks, but you don't really want to slow down your combo when your combo is faster. Now, what he does get to do, and I was talking about how the sideboard isn't really a sideboard so much as it is a bunch of ways to customize the deck. He gets to customize the deck by having sort of more offense with Mystical Tutor and.
It looks like he's got a turn 1 Tinker here, which it will leave him with no permanents, 1 permanent in play, and he can get Jar, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough. He won't have enough mana to activate a Belcher, right?
No.
Oh, no. Layline of Sanctity.
Huh.
Tom Martell has Layline of Sanctity. He can no longer be targeted. Now the question is, did Chris bring in a Void Snare as the like random, bounce your bullshit permanent answer that the deck has?
He could also win by assembling Time Vault and Tezzeret for the win.
Yes. He basically has to go Vault Key, but Goblin Charbelcher targets the opponent. So that Layline of Sanctity that Tom Martell brought in is in fact going to stop Plan A from Chris Pikula's deck. Now, like I said, there's a Void Snare for exactly this reason.
Right.
But Chris may or may not have brought it in, and there's no easy way to access it other than the 1 Mystical Tutor.
Now, for folks who are not totally familiar with some of these interactions, it's very important to note that, oh, wow, Chris imprinted Tinker. I did not expect that. I was going to say that the fact that Tom didn't have any dredgers in hand meant that he could jar, and Tom would not be able to dredge before, that is within the while jarring. You'd have to do it on his next turn.
I think Chris imprinting Tinker, well, he might not have the jar in his deck because it's so bad against Dredge to randomly put cards in their graveyard.
He has it. He mulliganed it away in this game.
This game? Okay, fair enough. But the other reason why he might imprint Tinker there is that Tezzeret wins him this game. All he has to do is cast Tezzeret. Sure. He can get the Time Vault. Tezzeret, oh, geez. Now here's the Unmask. Man, I thought this matchup was actually quite good for the Belcher deck, but now it looks like Tom's going to win it.
Well, it goes to your point, right? Be on the play. I think he had to go for it. He had to go for it.
You would have just tinkered out a jar there?
You got to.
But you can't go for it and win all in one turn versus Layline.
No, I understand. But if you can get a Belcher, well, the Belcher's not going to win. But if you can get some mana into play, then you can top deck your way to wins.
Yeah, versus the Layline, he either has to find one answer or piece together Vault Key. Well, there's Time Vault. That's a start.
Yeah, that's half the combo.
It is
interesting.
He's got 2 keys and 2 Tezzerets. Tinker could have gone to get half the combo.
And Tom still does not have dredgers.
Crazy. Tom's Layline is buying him so many turns, though. Saw somebody in the chat just make a pretty funny point. Typical Dredge matchup, winning both sideboarded games. Nice line, Mike French 62. It would be quite unusual for Dredge to lose game one and then win both the sideboarded games. That's a great point. Not over yet, though.
He could also have tinkered and just sat on the jar for the turn and tried to jar on his next upkeep.
You're confident you saw the jar?
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I would sideboard it out in this matchup, but Chris likes the jar more than I do. I was pretty happy with the Mind's Desire I have in the main deck instead against LSV.
Oddly enough, Tom, I guess, can feel free to Chain of Vapor all he wants because Chris has no lands to bounce it back. So there's no risk of the Layline getting bounced by his
True.
own.
I mean, bouncing the Chrome Box is not a bad play here. It's pretty painful.
Yeah.
Interesting. Chris didn't want to risk the Time Vault in play because he knows Tom has a bunch of artifact removal.
Now he has to play it, though. Yeah.
I would think. Yeah. I mean, Cabal Therapy, any creature lets Tom flash it back. So now it's suddenly safer in play.
Tom is deciding to upkeep Dredge, given that he's
still 0 for Dredgers, isn't he?
He still has not found a treasure.
What a crazy draw for Tom. He draws the Nut sideboard card, and just the regular part of his deck lets him down.
Every draw here, Chris has got to have,
No. Yeah, the deck's got, 10 1-mana cantrips. It's got 7 sort of mass draw / gasoline spells.
And he's got 2 blues, so.
Yeah, they all count. Diminishing Returns, Tezzeret, Jar.
If I was Tom, I would definitely upkeep Bizarre there.
Yeah, found a Grave Troll.
He's got his Grave Troll.
Found one. So now he uses his draw step to dredge the Grave Troll and put 7 more cards in there. Does not look like he hit a Narcomoeba. So
Christmas.
No free Cabal Therapy. He does have a Bloodghast.
He did find Bloodghast.
So playing a land triggers the Bloodghast. That comes back into play. Now he can Cabal Therapy, but he doesn't know what Chris's card is. And honestly, if it was anything good, Chris probably would have played it.
We still have a game here. This is not far from decided.
Has been a fun week, that's for sure. These have been some crazy games. Tom did dredge into more dredgers, so Bizarre can go nuts next turn. Chris, it's time for Chris to find something if he wants to win this game. Like, he may get another draw phase after this one, but he's not going to get more than a turn or 2 from here.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely. Tom has the Troll and multiple bridges. Not the Troll. He's got the Flamekin Zealot and multiple bridges in his graveyard. At least one bridge.
Those unmasks have been really good for Tom. Drew a Force of Will in that one game, and the unmask here took the Tezzeret, which would otherwise have just won Chris the game. Diminishing Returns off the top.
There you go. Oh my god.
Wow. This is the card that Chris found when he started testing this deck.
Oh my god.
Convinced me to play it. I pointed out to him how randomly good it is in the Dredge matchup, too. All that work you've been doing, Tom, shuffle it back in. There's still the small matter of a Layline, but Voltaic Key.
We need to pay close attention to what's exiled here, though.
Can we get keys and Tezzerets? Yeah, we can open up the exile zone. Any keys or Tezzerets in there? Those are really the relevant cards. There's a Tez and a Belcher. Is there a Void Snare? Does he even have the Void Snare? Chris's draw is kind of mediocre.
Yeah, surprisingly.
It's diminished, but he doesn't have the blue mana to recast it, does he? Oh, he found. Is that Expedition Map? He didn't remove the Academy, right? So now he can go get the Academy. Yeah. Okay, now he's got plenty of colorless mana. He can play Expedition Map, which is really the key card that makes this deck hum mana-wise. Expedition Map will allow him to go get the one Tolarian Academy out of the deck, and then he's got all the mana he could ever want.
You know, looking at this, it might have been a mistake for Chris not to play the Chrome Box in hand before Diminishing Returns.
Yeah, it risks redrawing it.
Not to mention the fact that it boosts Academy if you draw Academy.
Yeah, maybe he should have played it.
I mean, I'm not saying he should have. I'm just saying it's a.
It's also it's not an awful card to draw because when he's pinched on
Exactly.
blue mana,
And it also increases the number of cards that you might. That's a card you would want to exile. So there's a case for not thinning your library before casting Diminishing Returns.
all right. So you probably Expedition Map before pondering. Oh, he doesn't have any blue mana until he Expedition Maps anyway.
Yeah, it should be noted that in addition to Time Vault, he has 2 excellent cards to use Voltaic Key on.
What, the mana?
Yeah, so I mean, the point is that your deck actually has lots of Voltaic Key targets.
Yeah, no, we contemplated 3. Chris had 3 when we started talking. We started testing yesterday. Chris was on 3 keys. I talked him down to 2, but I'm not convinced I was right. 3 might be a better number because it does so much in the deck. Yeah, now Tom has a mental misstep. He is absolutely going to use this mental misstep to try to stop Expedition Map from happening. He knows that represents Tolarian Academy, which taps for 1,000,000. He did not misstep the Expedition Map. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, Chris would have forced it, but
yeah,
Chris would have had to force it, and then he'd be down a Ponder. I guess Tom knows that Voltaic Key kills him, so he's saving the misstep for Voltaic Key. It's not insane. Yeah, that could have been bait for Voltaic Key. I guess Tom's. It's a judgment call for Tom. It's really hard to know what the right line is there. It totally depends what Chris is holding. Turns out Chris's hand needed blue mana and did not already have a key. But Tom would have had to been psychic to know that. Now Tom's thinking again about his mental misstep.
Gotta misstep that.
What do you mean? You already decided to hold it for Voltaic Key. I mean, Chris will say okay.
For sure.
But again, it's because we can see Chris's hand that these plays are easier. Oh, what is this? Oh, he's got the Nature's Claim.
Time Vault.
Nature's Claim on Time Vault's a pretty big deal.
That is a big deal.
Wow. Now does Chris have to? Oh, he can hardcast Force of Will and still have diminished mana.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you hardcast Force of Will.
Yeah, you have to.
And then he still has enough mana for Diminishing Returns, or I think he's still got Tezzeret mana, right? How many blue are floating?
Exactly how much mana does he have floating?
Is it just 3? No, it should be 6 blue. 6 blue and a colorless.
Okay. So this Ponder is going to resolve first. So
yep. Well, there's still the small matter of a misstep. Tom sees that Chris is down to 1 card, but Ponder found Expedition Map. It must have been. He must have reshuffled. Yeah, he must have gone whiff, reshuffle. All right, fine. Expedition Map. Diminishing Returns. You know what card could really pay off here? Candelabra of Tawnos. How good would Candelabra of Tawnos be for Chris to draw off this Diminishing Returns?
Looks like Chris has just exiled his Mystical. And he found Candelabra. And Voltaic
Key. Wow. How many Tezzerets in the exile zone? Just the 1?
Diminishing Returns has been all-star.
Chris deserves this, honestly. He found this card and put this deck, just give it that extra notch of power.
Yeah, and Tom doesn't even have any dredgers, just to add insult to injury to what Diminishing Returns does.
Yeah, Vault Key will get Chris all the turns he needs to eventually find a Tezzeret to just create some lethal attackers. Well played, Chris Pikula.
Yeah, big fan of Diminishing Returns, actually. I play that in my combo deck.
Chris chose to run 3 of them. I only ran 2.
Yeah, I don't blame him. It's awesome.
Yeah, so Candelabra will untap the Academy, which gives him effectively infinite mana at this point.
And he has 1 Tezzeret left, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine he sideboarded out a Tezzeret.
Well, I guess we need to make sure that he has a win condition. Or Tom might just scoop and...
Tom might scoop, or... I don't know if Tom will make it.
Amazing. He's assembled the Key Vault through 2 Diminishing Returns. That's one way to find that combo, huh?
Crazy. I mean, Tom should just F6 and make him show him a victory condition through Layline, right? I would not concede here. I would F6.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I mean, I might settle for him telling me I have a Tezzeret in the deck. Like if we were playing on the tabletop, I'd be like, okay, pick up your deck, show me your victory, show me your kill card. Can't really do that on Magic Online.
I still think I would have tinkered for Jar on turn 1, even having seen this. I just think too risky. And I probably would have tinkered away the Chrome Mox actually and left the Soul Ring.
Yeah. All right. So Char Belcher is not the kill here because of the ley line. Whoa. Oh, he gets to stack his deck. Hilarious.
Oh, of course. That's what he's doing. So
he
what
Char Belchers the Bloodghast in order to reveal every card in his library and choose the order he's putting them back on. Also, this shows Tom his deck. I didn't look for the Tezzeret, but I assumed there was a Tezzeret in there. I did. It went by too fast for me to verify, but presumably Tom can now concede.
Well,
that's the Chris Pikula wins, right?
Yeah.
Tom sees that Chris can win it. I assume there's Tezzeret. I don't know if he brought in the Void Snare, but Tezzeret.
That's what I was going to ask. He might also have the Void Snare. So.
Artifact. The Tezzeret's ultimate ability is artifacts you control become 5/5 artifact creatures until end of turn. Smash. Take, I don't know, 50. There's a lot of artifacts in that deck. I will admit I have never won a game with Tezzeret's ultimate ability in that deck. I've never actually had that come up. I guess sure, all the Vault Key concessions, maybe that was how you would have done it. Through Layline of Sanctity. Wow. So Belcher goes to 3-0.
Kudos to you and Chris. All right,
Crazy.
I got to jump off of here. I got to open up Magic Online.
All right, nice chatting with you. Good luck on your repeat attempt. See if you can run it back again in season 2.
Thank you, sir.
Stay tuned out there. We got one match left. It's going to be the great one, Bob Maher against the champ, Steve Menendian. Stay tuned.